Murder in Havant. They're still in custody tonight.
Police have spent the day reassuring the community that incidents like this are rare, as Mary Stanley now reports.
Teams of police officers have carried out thorough searches in Athena Avenue, scouring bushes, gardens, footpaths and under cars, in their hunt for evidence following the shooting here in the early hours. A large cordon has been set up around the estate, as forensic officers also examine a nearby block of flats and an area of grass outside. Neighbours told how they were awakened by a gunshot just before 1 a.m.
You sometimes hear shooting going up at the woods, sometimes when they're doing pheasant shooting in the country, but I knew it was a louder bang than that. It was just one horrendous big shot, so you could hear it was different from all the rest, because it made us nervous. And apart from that, we were just all being careful to stay close together, me, my husband and granddaughter. That was, a bit frightening.
The man in his 30s was taken to Southampton General Hospital with a serious head injury. Community support teams have spent the day visiting the estate to reassure locals about their safety.
I think we've had a few stabbings here before, but nothing regarding shootings or anything like that, so it makes me want to move, to be fair.
How's it left you feeling?
A bit worried, a bit scared. So, I don't know what else to say really. It's just too close for comfort. Too close for comfort.
This is always a quiet area, We moved here and we've loved it here for the last couple of years since we moved. And it's always been quiet and a very peaceful area.
Someone had a gun, which is quite amazing, isn't it? To think that they would keep a gun on their property. I'm quite shocked. Very shocked, actually.
Armed police arrested a 37-year-old man and 38-year-old woman at an address in Havant around 2:30 this morning. Police are keen to point out that incidents like this are very rare in Hampshire and treated very seriously. They hope the large police presence here today will allay people's fears and encourage anyone with information to come forward. Mary Stanley, ITV News, Waterlooville.
A man has been arrested after a woman was killed when she fell from a flat window in Southsea. The 40-year-old woman fell from the third floor of Clarendon Court yesterday morning. The 46-year-old man from Southsea has been released on police bail.
24-year-old man's been stabbed in the chest during a fight outside a Tesco Express store in Seaford. A fight involving a large group of people broke out on Sutton Park Road in the early hours of yesterday morning. The injured man's in a stable condition in hospital. Two 19-year-olds and a 20-year-old were arrested and have since been released on bail.
The girlfriend of a Sussex student murdered in Australia 15 years ago has returned to the country to try to find his body.
Peter Falcone and Joanne Lees, who lived together in Brighton, were exploring the outback when Peter was shot dead. His body has never been found.
Malcolm Shaw's report does contain some flash photography.
It was the adventure of a lifetime which ended in murder. Joanne Lees and Peter Falcone left Brighton, where they'd been studying and working, to travel in Australia, exploring the remote Northern Territory in a combi van. Near Barrow Creek, they were flagged down by another driver. He shot Peter and tried to abduct Joanne, but she managed to escape.
In the past, I've really not wanted to think about Australia.
15 years on, Joanne has returned to Australia to try to find Peter's body. Her search the subject of a documentary, 60 Minutes, on Channel 9.
I didn't want to be living in England in my old age thinking that I could have done more. Yeah, I didn't want to have regrets. I could have done more to find Pete. He's obviously not been able to be buried and return to the UK and have a funeral.
Before police found Peter's killer, Joanne became the subject of speculation and suspicion, culminating in this tense interview with detectives.
No, you really are scaring me. You think I did this, don't you?
No, but I have to ask if you've been involved.
No, I haven't been involved. Not at all. No. No.
But eventually the murderer was identified, drug trafficker Bradley John Murdoch. DNA evidence proving his guilt. After the trial, Joanne came home and trained as a social worker. Last year, she discovered her estranged father, who's Australian, had a daughter from a different relationship.
And as a result of
following your Australian father's family,
yeah.
you have found a sister.
I have, yeah. Meet my sister Jess.
Hello.
How amazing.
It has been amazing. It's been really amazing.
Joanne Lees has enlisted the help of local trackers in her search for the body of Peter Falconio. She's now applied for Australian citizenship to spend more time there. Malcolm Shaw, ITV News.
In other news, a woman's had almost £6,500 stolen from her bank accounts after a man watched her enter her PIN number at a supermarket in Winchester. Police are looking for this man after the victim's purse was stolen from her car at Waitrose on Stockbridge Road in Winchester. 7 different bank cards were then used to withdraw money from cash points.
Campaigners fighting plans for a third runway at Heathrow Airport have been protesting outside the first of 20 public exhibitions. The government says the £17 billion expansion will create tens of thousands of jobs and boost the economy following Brexit. But campaigners claim emissions limits will be broken.
We continue to stand opposed. 250,000 more planes a year. We believe that will be unacceptable noise. It'll bring destruction of homes. It'll bring more air pollution. We remain opposed. These exhibitions will make a difference if the Department for Transport is prepared to listen to what people have to say, and if enough people make strong enough arguments against, if the government is then bold enough to say no to a third runway.
Now, prostate cancer in men is notoriously difficult to diagnose, but now a new pain-free test pioneered here in the south is revolutionising treatment using MRI scanners.
However, so far only around half of hospitals are offering it, with Paul in Bournemouth amongst those missing out. Here's Andy Dickinson.
Chris Kitcher has been writing technical books for the last 15 years, and it's a new use of technology that may have just helped save his life, with a breakthrough test for prostate cancer.
Went down to Brighton, had an MRI scan, went back in due course to the hospital, and he said, you've got 2 spots there, just tiny spots that I could see, and he showed me.
Those spots were generated through a pioneering use of MRI that screens for so-called pussycat tumours that can be safely left, while pinpointing life-threatening tiger ones for further treatment. A technique that's already been labelled a game changer.
The key here is that we're using the MRI first as the triage test to decide which men need to go on for a biopsy and which men don't. And for those that go on a biopsy, we have a map to make the biopsies as effective as possible.
Prostate cancer claims the lives of around 11,000 British men every year and is one of the most challenging cancers to diagnose, yet not all hospitals are equipped to produce these scans. Charity Prostate Cancer UK says only a third of men eligible for the tests are receiving them, and what's missing isn't necessarily the machines, but the training.
Well, it's absolutely the biggest breakthrough in prostate cancer diagnosis for decades. This is really going to be the way forward, and all men should be entitled to have this better, more accurate diagnosis, and also to have the chance of avoiding a biopsy if they don't actually need it.
Chris says he feels like one of the lucky ones, and his prostate should be removed next month. Whether others will be as fortunate to receive similar scans remains to be seen. Andy Dickinson, ITV News, Horsham.
Indeed, you are watching ITV News here in the Meridian region. Thank you, as always, for choosing us. Coming up...
Back with a bang, Brighton return to winning ways to make sure they stay on course for promotion to the Premier League.
As always, for more on all of our stories, do head to itv.com/Meridian. Any views or news, why not give us a ring on 0808 10 10 095, or you can get in touch via Facebook, or should you prefer, then why not send us a tweet at ITV Meridian. Some breaking news for you now. A man's been taken to hospital with life-threatening injuries after he was stabbed in Oxford. Emergency services were called to Windmill Road in Headington, and a man in his 30s was airlifted to the John Radcliffe Hospital. Police say the victim and the offender do know each other. A 27-year-old man has been arrested.
And a 12-year-old boy is in a life-threatening condition following an incident inside a shop at the Oracle shopping centre in Reading. Police and 3 ambulances were called just after 4 o'clock this afternoon, where the young boy was taken to the Royal Berkshire Hospital.
Well, now, the cost of rising debt is not just a monetary issue. With the number of people struggling to pay their bills here in the south, many people are suffering from mental illness or, even worse, have attempted to take their own lives.
The average debt per household across the country is £11,000. But in our region, it's more than that, on average at more than £12,000.
Well, increasing numbers of families and individuals are turning to charities for help. Reporter Johnny Blair has been looking at some of the reasons behind the region's mounting debt.
The hectic pace of everyday life hides a growing problem. Debt is casting its shadow, and it has the power to quickly overwhelm. One man who's lived through that darkness is Pete Moss. He worked, yet found the bills stacking up.
I'd actually run up quite a lot of debt, as in credit card debts, loans, mobile phone bills, cable TV. When all came to all, we added it all up, it was over £11,000 worth. I had a mental breakdown, which then, over the course of time, led to even attempting to take my own life.
Families don't have savings put to one side, so they are relying more and more on credit. And where the economy is relying more and more on consumer debt, that's really worrying. It actually says that there's a problem in the economy where people aren't being paid enough to survive, but also lack of investment.
The government, however, insists that it's re-stimulating the economy. Aside from increasing the minimum wage, it says our economy was worth £304 billion in 2014. In the last year alone, we created 187,000 jobs, and investment from abroad has shot up by a quarter. Deacon Tracy Hume runs a weekly food bank from her church. She blames the increasing number of people using food banks on a reduction in state benefits. And here is what's changed. The benefit cap is lowering the amount of payments some families can claim by £6,000 a year. Universal Credit, the monthly living allowance, can initially take more than a week to process, although advances are available. And an assessment to receive Personal Independence Payment, or PIP, is replacing the previous test for Disability Living Allowance.
The first thing we see is tears, because it's the first place they felt safe to do that. We often will get the whole story because they didn't dare share it with other people. And you just see that embarrassment of, I cannot provide for my children or my family.
But if changes to welfare have left a bitter taste here, it's an accusation firmly rejected by the government. It says that on streets like these, the reforms are restoring fairness to the system and incentivising more people than ever to return to work. While there are disagreements over the cause of the problem, the issue is clear. Deep debt is affecting more and more households, leading, no doubt, to many a sleepless night. Johnny Blair, ITV News.
And tomorrow we'll meet one woman who has spent years working with those trying to escape from debt.
Well, this is a subject that's really got you talking on our Facebook page. Emma Spratt from Portsmouth says, when I was a child, my mum got into debt. Since I was old enough, I've never borrowed money, had a loan, or not paid my bills on time. If I want something, I will save for it.
Catherine Haskell-Besant from Port Bournemouth wrote, it's best to face debt head on and get free help. It's free and very helpful. Your debts are paid off gradually with no fear of the knock on the door and bailiffs arriving.
Well, some good advice there. Thank you to everyone who got in touch.
And remember, you can find information and debt advice by going to our website. Just head to itv.com/Meridian.
Now, an ecologist from the British Antarctic Survey has just completed a special expedition exclusively for female scientists.
Yes, Deborah Pardo was one of 76 women from 15 countries chosen to take part in the very first Homeward Bound expedition.
And she's now encouraging others to apply for the next voyage, as Liz Summers will tell us.
This is one cool selfie taken in the Antarctic by ecologist Deborah Pardo. She was one of 76 women from 15 countries chosen to take part in the Homeward Bound expedition, a new initiative aiming to boost the impact of female scientists across the globe.
It was just unbelievable. So the combination of this environment and what was happening, so outside environment and what was happening on board, to really reset what we know about ourselves and what we want to achieve together, was just so powerful. It's like a metamorphosis. I realized that I can achieve much more than I felt. I'm more comfortable doing things, taking risks. And most of all, I want to have a positive impact on the planet. Socially, environmentally, I want to inspire future generations and current generations to do their best.
This was the largest ever female expedition to Antarctica. Deborah was joined by astronomers, engineers, physicists, doctors and social scientists. So why are leadership projects for women only so important?
Girls are less likely to go on to STEM careers, science, technology, engineering and maths careers, if they're in mixed sex environments, because they're often kind of challenging cultural and gender stereotypes, whereas in single-sex schools that's not the case. This is of course at a different level. These are adult women doing a leadership exercise, and they're just benefiting from that networking opportunity that's really quite rare.
The Homeward Bound project is only just getting going. Over the next few years, organisers hope to recruit 1,000 women onto the programme. Applications are now open for the next voyage, and Deborah is encouraging women to apply.
I think you can do much more than you think you can. It's all about the mindset. It's all about getting out there and do more than you think you could do, and then you feel better and you do even more. So just do it. If you feel that your heart is telling you to do it, just do it.
The message from Homeward Bound and Deborah is clear. Mother Nature needs her daughters to make a difference. Liz Summers, ITV News.
Stunning views, but no, I'm not going, Fred.
Not for you.
No, Fred was just suggesting it.
You stay here.
Now it's time for the sport with Andrew. Andrew, the Soaring Saints.
The Soar Away Saints, you're absolutely right. Southampton fans can look forward to a Wembley final and a relaxing fortnight off after their team eased any relegation fears with a convincing win at the weekend. Bournemouth will hope to move up the table too, with Manchester City visiting tonight, while the Saints soar off struggling Sunderland with their new Italian hero paving the way.
Need an early retirement, mate? Selco, sponsoring ITV Meridian Sports Report.
Manolo Gabbiadini has scored 3 goals in his first 2 Southampton appearances. This one possibly coming off his arm, but Saints fans not complaining. Gabbiadini says Southampton's former Italian hitman Graziano Pella helped persuade him to join the club. And this looks like £14 million well spent. Southampton had lost 6 of their last 7 matches, but an own goal and a late strike from substitute Shane Long means the Saints go into their EFL Cup final full of confidence. Brighton are overwhelming favourites to get promotion to the Premier League after another convincing win at the weekend. Brighton and Newcastle still have a healthy gap over the chasing pack for those 2 automatic places, though Reading are still pushing. The bookmakers making the Seagulls 9-1 on to get promoted after they thumped Burton Albion. In the Battle of the Albions, it was Brighton who took the lead through Toma Hemed. The Seagulls strolling past Burton for their 12th home win of the season. Fit again Sam Baldock slotting home. Highly rated winger Solly March set up that goal and was then brought down for a penalty. Hemed scoring his 12th goal of the season. And although Burton did pull one back, top scorer Glenn Murray wrapped up a convincing win with his 16th championship strike. Reading boss Jaap Stam was celebrating his Manager of the Month award and will be thankful the woodwork came to the Royals' rescue, but this is now 5 matches unbeaten. Oxford United are on a roll. They take on Premier League Middlesbrough in the FA Cup on Saturday and have lost just 1 of their last 10 matches in all competitions. That's lifted them to within 4 points of the playoff places. Oxford United left it late, but 2 minutes from time, Kane Hemmings glanced in the winner. It could have been more, but for the heroics of the MK Dons goalkeeper, David Martin. Berry made no mistake from the penalty spot. James Vaughan's strike dropping Swindon into the League One relegation zone. Tim Sherwood's team in need of a quick response, or they're for the chop. It took Portsmouth just 2 minutes to take the lead. Matt Clark with his first goal in over a year. And it was 90 minutes later when they wrapped up the win, Kai Naismith lifting Pompey up to 6th. For Crawley, James Collins has now scored 8 in his last 10 matches. But Luton are looking for automatic promotion, and their top scorer, Danny Hilton, drew the team's level, before he popped up again to make sure Crawley headed home empty-handed. The runner-up in this year's Vendée Globe received a hero's welcome back in Gosport this weekend. Alex Thompson set all sorts of records during the solo round-the-world race. His time was actually 4 days faster than the previous race record, but he had to settle for 2nd place, which means he ties with Dame Ellen MacArthur as the highest placed Briton in the competition. And Basingstoke Bison fans have a hero too. Vanya Antonov scored 4 and assisted 2 in a swashbuckling display to defeat the Hull Pirates. The 7-1 win even more impressive as it came just 2 days after he played in Kazakhstan, helping the British University ice hockey team win their first ever match at a Universiade tournament. Oh, and there's just enough time to look back at the racing at Newbury. Let's have a reminder of what was said here on Friday first, followed by the race the next day. So good luck to all those having a flutter.
Have you got a tip for us?
I thought you'd never ask. Yes, I do. It's Ballyandy. What could possibly go wrong?
Here's another tip, viewers. Don't back it. No.
Move with the Times is trying to come back. Ballyandy drifting right-handed under pressure, but he's holding Move with the Times, and it is Ballyandy, whose first success over hurdles will be one of the biggest prizes of the season.
Yeah, so that was Ballyandy, romping home at 9-2. So well done to everyone who backed him.
Can you find it in your heart to forgive me?
I can, but I may have that up my sleeve for a while.
It's another tip, never listen to what Dinage says. He's a fool. Betty, thank you very much indeed. Lovely. Billy Elliot has to be a dream role for youngsters who love to act and dance. It's the story of a young lad from a mining town who discovers a passion for ballet.
Well, after phenomenal West End success, the show has come to the Mayflower Theatre in Southampton. Here's Juliet Fletcher with more.
Solidarity, solidarity forever. It's captivated audiences around the globe. The story of an 11-year-old boy who, despite his father's wishes, gives up his boxing gloves in favour of a pair of ballet shoes.
I can't say that I relate to Billy because my parents don't mind dancing. They really embrace my dancing. But Billy's a relatable character for many other people.
The story is set in a northern village during the coal miners' strike. Billy's outraged father puts a stop to his ballet dancing, but with the help of a local teacher, he continues to dance in secret. The 4 young stars of the stage production here in Southampton say Billy is a dream role.
I like I just enjoy myself on stage, and it's a way to like free yourself from any of the thoughts that you have.
I love dance so much, and then it's just a really good role to play.
The boys needed to be able to act as well as dance, and there were demanding auditions to get through.
Scary but exciting at the same time, because I didn't know what it was going to be like, so I was a bit scared, but I was excited because I knew I was going to be on stage and doing what I wanted to do.
They've become firm friends, working hard on stage, and there's schoolwork to fit in, but there's plenty of downtime too.
Their first years were outstanding, but now they're sort of a superhuman level. But to see them grow as people, I work quite closely with the kids, and they've all grown and blossomed so much. It's been really great to watch happen.
It's a tale that will make you laugh as well as cry. The show started its tour a year ago and will be playing at the Mayflower Theatre for 4 weeks. Juliet Fletcher, ITV News, Southampton.
Billy Elliot, absolutely wonderful. Just like the weather today. Can she keep it going? Let's find out. Ellen Plint.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello again. A very good evening to you. Well, a fairly cheerful start to half-term week, and well, there is a shift in the seasons, or so it seems for now, because the wind will die away over the next couple of days, and increasingly temperatures will rise. It'll turn much milder out there. That said, there will be damp spells from time to time as well, but most notable will be the change in those temperatures for the weekend. Well, lots of us struggling even to reach the mid-single figures, but a shift over the coming days sees us dragging up this airflow from the continent, from the south, and as a result, it really will boost those temperatures so well and comfortably into their double figures by the middle of this week. Back to the here and now, though, and throughout this evening, a fair few gaps in the cloud will allow it to be yet another chilly night. So the chance, especially, of course, in more sheltered rural countryside spots, we'll just see the odd patch of frost by first thing tomorrow morning. Elsewhere, more in the way of cloud for those furthest west. And as I say, that breeze does start to die down overnight tonight. So still a little windy for some, but generally tomorrow will be a bit more of a slow start to the day. You can see those grey skies overhead, 1 or 2 pockets of mist and murk here and there too. And by the middle of the afternoon, especially fairly damp for those furthest west. That wet weather will be fairly light and fleeting though, so more a niggle factor than anything else. And with highs of 10 degrees, not feeling too bad out there for the time being. So a quick look at the times of high water over the next 24 hours, and it'll be high tide at around 10 to 1 and just after 1 either end of the day in Southampton tomorrow. Now from here on in, some very wet weather come Wednesday, but drier, brighter and even warmer for Thursday.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
In just a moment, we've got the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
We shall have our late news. Join me if you can. For now, though, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thanks for watching. Have a phenomenal evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That worked.